Hey everybody, Mr. Nobody here. And today going to do something with the creation kit. Going to teach you how to create a script that goes directly into from your you come up, click on your workshop, and when you do, the workshop is an activator for a script that enables items from your pouch to go into your inventory and then back out into the pouch. There are pros and cons, but it allows you to access items on a big scale without having to worry about taking all the stuff out. You can just work on it as needed. And if you're like me, when it comes to not enchanting, but ingredients, it's always I don't carry ingredients around unless it's for a quest. And it's not hard to just go back into the satchel or whatever container you're using and pull out what you need, compared to pulling out everything, then going in, doing stuff, and then putting the hundreds of thousands, if you have a ton of items, back in. So this way, it's just come in, activate. It activates the thing for this to transfer to you, which once you're done, transfer it back. So, but all right. Go to the scripts. Go ahead and show you what the properties list looks like. See, transfer to and from player inventory is my script name. Upon activations, items are transferred from connected containers to player's inventory, then removed when done. So, go ahead and go into the properties. Right now, I have container A, which is the satchel. The player ref is my character. Then the ingredients is a form list I made called Alchemy Satchel Allowed Form List, which is right here. So before going into the whole source, if you do not know how to make a form list, then all you have to do is come over here, go to miscellaneous items, right there. Go ahead and close these up real quick, so you can see it's right under magic. Then let's see, then you'll go to form list. You'll see a bunch of forms. Click new. Type in, for this, I'll just do example. And then what you're going to want to do is afterwards, since you're going to do ingredients, all you'll do is go to items. You don't even need to click on the subcategories. Just click on ingredients. Go all the way down to the bottom. Make sure you're all the way down. Or you could just do the simple click on one and then shift and hold down. But either way, either you grab and drag all up, or you just click on one, hold down shift, and go like this, with the down button. Or if you started from the bottom, the up button. But then afterwards, you just grab everything. You'll see a sign that says you can't do that, but you'll come here, drop. Now all items are in here. You do the same thing for the rejections list. If you wanted to make a form list of rejected items, you do the same thing except with items that you do not want. So I will go into how to create a like this satchel only accepts ingredients. Nothing else can go into this satchel at all. So I used form list for that. I used two actually. One for accepted, which I'm also using for the script that we're doing now, and a rejected, since all containers in the game accept any object except for quest, but or unless they're item specific, like bookshelves. But the like bookshelves, for example, they pretty much have a reject list for everything that is not a book. While the regular containers like satchels and chests and cupboards and stuff, they all use that. Mannequins, as another example, they pretty much have a rejection list for anything that's not wearable or equipable. But I'll go into how to do that another time. But yeah, so you do that, you save it, and then once you save it, you'll have it wherever I do NBG for Nobody Gaming. So yeah, there's my restricted list, which has, because I went through everything, if it wants to load and not crash on me. Sometimes it's a pain. It goes slow because I have all DLC stuff on here. I have all master files opened. So that's why when you look, you see architecture for the original dungeons, but then you got DLC 1, DLC 2, and Build Your Own Home, which is actually the first DLC. But they decided to call Hearthfire Build Your Own Home. BYOH. And then DLC 1 is Dawnguard. DLC 2 is Dragonborn or whatever. So, but yeah, going back to this is my reject list. As you can see, it starts with number 0 and then works its way all the way down until I have 16,830, which is technically 31 since we started at 0. So I got 16,831 items on my reject list, as you can see. And for those who make a reject list, you also have to remember, when you come up here, do not just do items. All you got to do is click on each of these. I have that up, but just click on each. As you can see, they all load up, and a lot of them are pretty big. But then once you get all the items that you want on your reject list, do not forget to come to magic and also do scroll and potion, because they are also like items that you can carry around and that can get stored. So you need to remember to do all that. Nothing else like this goes on your character. That goes on your weapons and stuff. So it's not like World of Warcraft where you can get an enchantment on a piece of paper. Same with leveled spells and magic effects. So, or shouts, or regular spells. It's not like you can store any of those. So, but yeah, just remember, don't forget about scrolls and potions. Everything else in magic you don't have to worry about, but those are the only other items. So, alright. then yeah, I mean, you probably don't need to throw those in, but I do it anyway, just to be safe. The only thing that I haven't actually found on here is probably the actual food itself. I mean, garlic and salt are in here because they're actually ingredients for alchemy. But, I don't know where the other food items are. So, they're probably in here somewhere and I just didn't bother to find them. But, yeah, so anyway, you get your list. Go ahead and go back into the, oops. And so you're going to want to make a script. So you'll go to add. As soon as it wants to add. Lenovo's. Sometimes they take forever. There we go. And since there's no script for this, you want to go to new script and click OK. Then you're going to want to name it. And then just put something about it. Like for me, when you go over mine, it just put an explanation of what the script's supposed to do. So if you have like abbreviated, mine's somewhat, but then it'll come up. It'll be blank. You won't have any of these properties in it at all. Then what you're going to want to do is go right-click it, go to Edit Source. A friend of mine on Reddit actually helped me with this. I sent him the script I was doing of this, or for this, and he luckily knows his way around scripting. So he fixed a lot of my errors. The biggest one being, from what I understand, was I was trying to have two events in the same exact thing, which technically the same row you cannot, but you can do event upon event depending on how it's done. Like if you do a if, else, or whatever statement, you can do kind of a separate event that way, but in most cases you can't. So I'll go ahead and make this bigger. He was nice enough to actually put down what each of these are. So for me, I wrote down, upon activation, items are transferred from connected containers to player's inventory, then removed when done. Then you're going to want to have the actor property player reference, set it to auto. You want to have a form list property, and then just name this whatever your form list is, or just whatever type of form list, or just gibberish, as long as you are able to reuse it. Auto. And he said, so he even was nice enough to put name this whatever you want. So the part you want to rename is just the ingredients. Then your object reference property is your storage, your container A. You can also name this whatever you want. I don't like using numbers because sometimes numbers in scripts get messed up. And you have to sit there and go and remove a number. And it's just easier to do this. And then go to auto. Then he just talks about lines that start with semicolons, which are these little things, are comments. The compiler ignores them, so you can use them to take notes. Comments can also appear at the end of a line after code. So, like, what he means is, here's like a little code, just a reference type, and he put a semicolon there. So, therefore, it pretty much, the reader will ignore all that because of the semicolons. That's all it is. So as long there is a certain mark you can use if you're going to have a long code in the same line, I've I forget what it is, but maybe it's like a backslash or something. But then you can continue on the code. But as long as each line, then you don't have that. This line is pretty much indefinitely. I can just sit here and go all the way across. All right. So then he goes, helps out with, I was correct with the event on activate, object reference, AK action ref. If AK action ref is not, which is this exclamation point and equal sign means not the player. Then, say he even wrote, if we aren't activated by a player, then do nothing. That's what return is. Return is do nothing. So if it's not done by the player, do nothing. If. Make sure you add that if. Then end if. Then they tell you otherwise send content A's items to player. And this is where we do that. Content A, remove all items. And as I mentioned before, since I already have that satchel set up to accept only ingredients, nothing else can go in there, I can safely do remove all items and then transfer to the player. So the player is AK action ref. So that's how I'm able to do that. If not, then I would have to make a second form list just for a rejection list. So, or a specific items only out of there. So you could use the same form list, but you would have to have, well, I'm pretty sure you could probably just use the same form list over in both of them. But container A, remove all items. So it goes to the player. Now that we've transferred the items, we need to wait until the player exits the crafting menu. Unfortunately, since we want to support consoles, we can't use SKSE to do that exactly. So, as a common ground, or as a what is the word I'm looking for? As a trade-off of not using SKSE, so we can use this for consoles. If you can use SKSE, which is a script extender, then you can do a lot more with this. That includes making it so this the cons don't happen. But since a lot of console mods don't have many good things, figure this is one good way to do it. So then instead we're going to wait 5 seconds. The reason is when you start the animation, the guy goes for the alchemy. He goes and grabs the mortar, and then that little animation. So you want to wait 5 seconds for the animation to clear. Then utility.wait will saying what it is will pause our function for the amount of specified in-game seconds. If the player pauses the game with a menu like the crafting menu, then the wait time stops ticking down until that menu closes. So the meaning, pretty much, he's stating that when you actually go into your menu, that stops, and then when you exit your menu, everything the thing is the crafting menu doesn't open instantaneously. There's a short delay while workbench animations play. Our wait time therefore has to be just a bit longer than that delay. I used 5 seconds, but you can experiment with shorter times. So assuming your wait time is long enough, the next code should only run after the crafting menu is closed. So as he said 5 seconds, gives animation time to go, and then you to get into the menu, which pauses the game time. And then when you click exit and you start leaving, it will resume time and all items will go back in. And this is where your form list comes in. So we did remove all items in the first one because, as I said, that container only has ingredients in it. But then the second one has remove item. And this one you can do either a single item or, in our case, we're doing the form list. So the ingredients, which is mentioned up here. So we're doing the ingredients. Then the number of the ingredients. True is to make sure no message is to appear. So therefore you don't get stuck with the whole, we took this amount of ingredients and whatever. And this is going back to container A, which is also mentioned up here. So going from the player, or what's being taken out of the player is the ingredients from from your form list, or items from your form list, the amount of the items up to. So unless you're a guy who carries over 1,000 ingredients of the same kind, that's just there. So make sure all your ingredients go out. If you carry over 1,000, then you're gonna have to put in the rest. Probably just open and close the alchemy table or enchanter. And then true is to make sure no messages appear. False if you want messages. And then you can review the creation kit wiki's documentation for remove items. But I'll summarize. This tells the game to take just the items in the ingredients form list out of the player's inventory and transfer them to container A. We still need to specify an amount, so we ask for 999 of each item, and then end event. So if you want to see what the actual script would look like without all this explanation to show you what is important and what's not, go and delete all that, delete all that, delete all that, delete all that. Delete all that. And delete all that. Then, if you really wanted to just not have a quote or anything, you can delete that and delete that. And so really all you have is your script name as it extends object reference. Then make sure active property, player reference, because you're doing an actor, which is the player, who is an actor. And that's the quickest way to reference a player. You as the player. Form list, the form list I showed you how to create. And then name this whatever you want. Also, object reference property. It's easier to do this, just do container A auto, because eventually if you want to have more than one container, then you can do a form list which accepts only that one item. So then all you do is, if you have it set up to where it only accepts that one item, then all the items that are connected, you have to do a to and from. So from here, you can sit here and do container A, remove all items. Container B, remove all items. Container C, remove all items. So on and so forth. So then when you get down, it goes container or player inventory, remove all items. And then the form list you could just do the whole ingredient form list and then do container, whatever, do it again, container, whatever, could do it again. So only the items will be accepted. But for right now, it's just one or the other. To show that this still works, compile. See down here at the bottom, exactly below. See, succeeded. 0 errors, 0 warnings. Batch compile of 1 file finished. 1 succeeded, 0 failed. So this is all you need right here to be able to access, or and then place it on your workshop, whatever workshop you want. Smithing, enchanting, so smithing, for example, you can have separate containers for each ore if you're doing smelting. So have one connected to smelting where it connects to like your barrel or whatever of smelting. Another one connected to all your ingots, and so on and so forth. You could technically even do this with, if you wanted to, don't know why you would, but you could technically put this script on the crafting table of the houses for Hearthfire. So instead of having to carry and everything else like that, you get the items, you make, and then you can sit there and pull the items out when you go to one thing to the other thing. So it's just therefore. And also, if you really wanted to get more serious and actually do more, you can change this up a lot. And say you wanted to make a bank system. Each town have their own, like, say, trade system where if you do it right, items from your inventory will be moved out of your inventory when you talk to, say, an NPC and go to another location, like the main house or whatever. If you try to set it up, you can have it go into a special storage bin at the house. Like if player home is, this or that, or make it a list so you can select it. It takes a lot of work, but you can sit there and do your own trade postal system pretty much. It just takes a little bit of work. But yeah, this is it for all you need to make it to where you pull items out. So discard my changes, yes, because I do like keeping those notes. My friend was very helpful, because what I did, in all honesty, was I can go and actually show you what I did. I went on here and I did go into the O's, and I did the on activate one, because it's on activating the Alchemy Lab. But then what got me wrong was the whole, I did the on closed. Instead of doing what he did and manipulate the time, I did an on closed. So that is where I kept getting so many script errors. Because I honestly thought if so and so, exactly, I didn't use a return because, well, in all honesty, the return is very confusing. I mean, I went to, I think it was scripting references, and then I think I went to Hello World. Yeah, this just is some basics about scripting. Then I came down here, and I remember clicking these when I was starting to originally go through. And then maybe it's operator. Oh wait, no, it's not operator. These just tell you what some of these things do. It must have been statement references. Yeah, return statement. Say return statement immediately stops running the function, calculates the results of the expression if it exists, and returns it to the caller. The type of expression revolves to must match the return type of the function. If the function has no return type, then just a return statement with no then just use a return statement with no expression. If a function with a return type exists without a return statement, then none will be returned, and a warning printed by the game if none is not allowed to be assigned to the return type. So, as you can see, they confused me quite a bit with this whole little return. So he explained it to me as I said to you. It pretty much means stop. Go back. Do nothing else. That's it. Your job's done because, so you don't want an NPC activating it and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you get over encumbered for a little bit, all because it got activated by an NPC. That's where the whole if not player, don't do anything. So, but yeah, I will also put in where in Reddit this link, which actually takes you to the script he helped make. As you can see, my script that I messed up on because I was doing active property and then I did object reference container A, but I did not put form list, and I did explain to him that my container A already has one, but I didn't know I needed a form list for the return out of my player, so not every item gets pulled in. So he corrected me on that. And say I'm still new, and but yeah, I did else event on close, which, like I said, he manipulated the time, and I got that was the biggest thing, and then also using else if. I did not need to use else if. I could have just either used another if or end if. So that's what he did here. He used end if. The only thing in his script you have to change, because there was a small problem, if you read down, you'll see the answer, but I'll go ahead and say here, is there is no return items. It is only return item. If you actually go and look it up, and we go to ours real quick, you got remove all items and remove item. So they each have a different thing that, set of parameters, I guess you would say. They each do a different task, but they're similar also. But yeah, unfortunately, as I was saying about the favorited, that is probably not going to work for this, because this might is equipped. I just have to figure out how to do that. So if you're an enchanter and you're wearing something, then it does not come out. That I'm going to have to do. But is object favorited? This one cannot be done. Not with the current. Remember when I said SKSE? Yeah, this requires SKSE for favorited items. But is equipped does not need SKSE. So, to incorporate this is something I'm going to learn how to do for the others. Because, like I said, for the ingredients, you don't need it. For enchanting, yes. Just because of the armor and weapons you bring in. But if you do a form list that only does certain items instead, like if your guy's a staff user, then you just don't put stabs on the form list. But yeah, but I mean, enchanting black soul gems would definitely work. Or I mean, all soul gems, like having a form list for them and excluding the ones you personally like to carry around to recharge your stuff. But yeah, so this is probably the best bet. So if you are able to incorporate this into yours, please give me a message and let me know. I'm going to play with it a little bit to see if I can get it done. Favorited would have been a lot better. So therefore, all your favorited items can be saved, but the this will have to do. I know if it's in here, then you should be able to do it. It's a function, so just do like is equipped in if game player dot is equipped, and then I don't know, somehow to prevent. I gotta look up more on how to do all that. But then you got equip. So unless you take off all your stuff that take all your important stuff out of your inventory and then do the form list and then go back to your thing, which is one way to do it. I mean, it's a small trade-off, but unless you just don't care and want to, you'll just go in and grab it out of the chest. But yeah, so yeah, I'll even put this in the definition down below or description. So, all right. Hopefully that helped some of you out who really have been looking to be able to use the container. It's not the greatest. It doesn't use SKSE like a lot of the heavier modders out there. It's just I want to be console friendly. I mean, console users are gamers too. I'm more of a console user, but I am creating mods for my own personal use, and I'm going to share mods that I make as well. So like this place right here, as you can see, I got a ton to do. It's just a island in its own realm. I even have a sigil stone all the way at the bottom. I made it bigger. Gonna probably do some effects to it, but yeah, as you can see, upside down mountain on two control rings. One is normal, expanded outward. One is smaller, or not smaller, but one's upside down. And then all this yellow you're seeing is actually a collision marker to prevent me from falling down in here. Turns out these little things of grass have no collision. So, when I first made this, I fell through and landed on here. So, right now, it's just there temporarily. As you can see, I'm adding sidewalk, pretty much. The portal to get you here. Your house, got a lot to work on. I'm doing one side at a time. As you saw, eventually I'm going to probably have this outside as well. But yeah, this side I'm actually working on slowly right now just to test it out. I'm making static items of every item ingredient, which when put in the pouch, it uh if the item count is one shows, and then eventually when the item counts two, the other one shows when the item count, until I get all, and then item count whatever and up will still show all of them. And then when item count is 0, this will then be disabled. So I need to get X markers and work on that. For the big stuff, as you can see, I put a rack up there, which is considered a drying rack. I think it said Whiterun drying rack. So if I remember right, it's the rack that's in Dragon Reach. And then I put fishing nets up top. So therefore, underneath, it looks like he's, the stuff that cannot fit in the jars, because there's 96 jars here, and there's like 112 items. The stuff that cannot fit in the jar, I'm going to throw up there. And then the stuff that can is all going to go through here. I'm going to have X markers because there's going to be multiple items. So depending on that. So therefore they fill up. They look like they're slowly filling. Or I could just do them full with the X marker. But yeah, it all depends. Probably make them full instead. Like there's like a lot more than normal. But the reason for static is so they don't, like even with a collision box, you can sit there, spray magic, nothing happens. You can sit there and swing at them, nothing happens. You shout at them, then they fly out of the collision box. So in order to prevent that from happening, it's just easier to static them. Just like you can take a static item and turn it into whatever. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you can go in and turn a bug into an ingredient and just eat it. Turn a full deer into an ingredient and eat it. There you go. But yeah. So, and then other side, potions. That's where all the potions are going to be. So as you can see, really am doing doing what I can. Quills, his desk. I got a book to make. This lectern, which will probably have the book I'm gonna make. That or there. He got a box there. He actually, if I can get it to work, he'll have storage for there. And I thought a nice little touch is putting the mortar and pedestal right there. Of course, with a wash basin, because while he's handling poisonous stuff, so you're going to want to have some place to wash your hands. For the potions, not so much, because, well, he gets done, washes his hand, probably wipes off the bottle, stores it. And so, yeah, you definitely need it for here where the poisons are. And then the garden will be the next place I go to work. And so on and so forth until I can get armory, which will probably be the next, will probably be his armory and his enchanting smithing area. Then over here in the back area will probably be the bedroom kitchen area. So, and then outside will be uh, dependent. Because, yeah, right now I'm trying to do a magic tree right there. So, turn out the light. See? I'm going to try to figure out how to incorporate that probably inside. Oh, it can't go in there because that was just, I think that was just too big. I think it was too small in here. I'm not sure. If not, then maybe I will actually add it in. Yeah, see, it's too small because I could shrink it, but I don't know. I'd rather have a lot more room for plants that, uh, there we go. For plants that are used and just have these around. There might be a quest. It's just, I got a few things to add up. Because I definitely want, this, for example, as a, probably the way to go out. So this is I think a potion, or it's either a potion or an enchanter thing. I can't remember, but get rid of the ground. So yeah, it's another little workshop. It's actually pretty nice, but like I said, I'm probably going to turn it into a static object and place it in. Therefore, when you activate it, it what is it called? It then will teleport you. So, all right, everybody. Gonna go ahead and leave off with that. Like I said, I'll have the scripts in the description down below, or the links to them and everything. So, all right. Till next time. Mr. Nobody out.